The fragile ceasefire between the United States and Iran is now under serious pressure as new attacks in the Strait of Hormuz raise fears that the conflict could return to full-scale war at any moment. Despite official statements from Washington insisting that the ceasefire is still holding, recent events suggest a very different reality on the ground. Missiles, drones, and naval confrontations have continued across one of the world's most important shipping routes, creating a highly tense and unpredictable situation. According to multiple international reports, Iran has launched a series of attacks targeting areas near the United Arab Emirates, including strategic oil infrastructure zones, while air defense systems in the region have been actively intercepting incoming threats. This marks a dangerous escalation, especially as it is the second consecutive day of reported attacks, increasing concerns that the conflict is gradually intensifying rather than stabilizing. At the same time, the United States claims that Iranian forces have been attempting to disrupt commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz, raising alarm among global trade networks and energy markets. U.S. officials say that these actions are part of a broader strategy to pressure international shipping and assert control over the region. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has stated that although these incidents are serious, they have not yet crossed the threshold required to officially declare the ceasefire over. However, he also warned that continued aggression or any major escalation could quickly change that status. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has taken a much stronger and more direct tone, claiming that the United States has already significantly weakened Iran's military capabilities and warning that further action could be taken if necessary. These contrasting tones between caution and aggression highlight the uncertainty surrounding the situation. To fully understand why this crisis is so significant, it is essential to examine the importance of the Strait of Hormuz. This narrow waterway connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean and serves as one of the most critical global shipping routes, especially for oil. A large portion of the world's energy supply passes through this channel every day, making it a vital artery for the global economy. Any disruption in this area can have immediate and widespread consequences, including rising fuel prices, delays in shipping, and instability in international markets. At present, thousands of sailors and hundreds of commercial vessels are either trapped or delayed due to security risks in the region. Shipping companies are becoming increasingly cautious, with many unwilling to send their vessels through the strait without military protection, while insurance costs for these journeys have surged dramatically. In response to these escalating risks, the United States has launched a military operation known as Project Freedom. This operation is designed to escort commercial ships safely through the Strait of Hormuz and ensure that global trade can continue despite the ongoing tensions. According to U.S. officials, thousands of military personnel, along with advanced naval and air defense systems, have been deployed to protect vessels from potential threats such as drones, missiles, and fast attack boats. Officials have stated that at least a small number of ships have already successfully passed through the strait under U.S. protection, which they describe as a sign that the operation is working. However, many experts caution that this does not mean the route is fully secure. The presence of military forces may deter some attacks, but it also increases the risk of direct confrontation if incidents occur. On the other side, Iran maintains that it has control over the Strait of Hormuz and has warned against foreign interference in the region. Iranian officials argue that their actions are defensive and are a response to what they describe as ongoing U.S. military pressure, they have also signaled that they are prepared to continue their operations if necessary, raising fears of further escalation. The situation is further complicated by the involvement of other countries and ongoing conflicts in the region. The United Arab Emirates has reported multiple missile and drone attacks, while tensions in Lebanon and surrounding areas continue to rise. These developments suggest that the situation is no longer limited to a direct confrontation between the United States and Iran, but could evolve into a broader regional conflict involving multiple actors. Military analysts warn that the current situation is extremely fragile and highly unpredictable. While both sides publicly state that they do not want a full-scale war, their actions indicate a pattern of gradual escalation. One of the greatest risks in this scenario is miscalculation, where a single incident, such as a misinterpreted attack or accidental strike, could trigger a rapid and uncontrollable escalation. U.S. officials have indicated that Iran's actions so far remain below the threshold required to restart major combat operations, but that threshold is not clearly defined and could change at any moment depending on political and military decisions. This uncertainty adds another layer of risk to an already volatile situation. The economic implications of this crisis are also significant because the Strait of Hormuz is such a critical route for global oil shipments. Any disruption can quickly impact energy prices worldwide. Even the threat of instability in the region can cause markets to react, leading to increased fuel costs and economic pressure on countries that rely heavily on imported energy. In addition, disruptions to shipping routes can affect the supply of goods, causing delays and increasing costs for businesses and consumers alike. This means that the consequences of this conflict are not limited to the Middle East, but can be felt across the entire global economy. As tensions continue to rise, diplomatic efforts are also ongoing, although progress appears to be limited. Some countries have attempted to mediate between the United States and Iran in an effort to de-escalate the situation and prevent further conflict. However, both sides remain firm in their positions, with each demanding concessions from the other. Without meaningful compromise, the chances of a long-term resolution remain uncertain. Analysts suggest that while both sides may want to avoid a full-scale war, they are also unwilling to appear weak, making negotiations more difficult. For now, the ceasefire technically remains in place, but the situation is becoming increasingly unstable with each passing day. The continued exchange of attacks, combined with military operations and rising tensions, suggests that the risk of escalation is growing. The coming days and weeks will be critical in determining the direction of this crisis. If diplomatic efforts fail and tensions continue to rise, the world could once again face a major conflict in one of its most strategically important regions. Ultimately, this crisis is not just about the United States and Iran. It is a global issue with far-reaching consequences for trade, energy, and international security. The Strait of Hormuz remains at the center of this tension, serving as both a critical economic lifeline and a potential flashpoint for conflict. The key question now is whether the situation can be stabilized through diplomacy or whether the current trajectory will lead to a larger and more dangerous confrontation.